Princess Zara stood on the observation deck of Nexus 7, her golden eyes scanning the massive training facility below. The space station orbited a distant star. Serving as the primary recruitment center for the Galactic Guard, today marked the beginning of the annual trials, where the galaxy's finest warriors would compete for positions in the most elite military force known to exist. The princess wore the traditional purple robes of Velkari royalty, her tall, slender frame commanding respect from every being on the station. Her people had ruled this sector of space for over 1,000 years, and their reputation for military excellence was unmatched. As the daughter of Emperor Kravak, she personally oversaw these recruitment trials to ensure only the strongest candidates joined their ranks. Below her, hundreds of alien species gathered in the main assembly hall. Massive Kraxi warriors, standing nearly 3 meters tall, with their rock-like skin and 4 powerful arms, flexed their muscles as they prepared for combat trials. Their homeworld's gravity was 3 times standard, making them incredibly strong by galactic standards. Nearby, the insectoid deck soldiers checked their natural armor plating, their compound eyes glittering as they calculated battle strategies with computer-like precision. The Dracone delegation breathed small puffs of flame as they warmed up, their reptilian scales shimmering under the artificial lights. These beings came from worlds where survival meant constant warfare against other predatory species. Each one had earned their place here through decades of proven combat experience. Princess Zara nodded with satisfaction. She observed these magnificent warriors. This year's candidates appeared particularly promising. Her attention moved across the crowd, noting the various species represented. There were the crystalline Vorthok, whose bodies could withstand direct plasma hits, and the swift Nemori, with their 6 legs and lightning-fast reflexes. Then her gaze stopped on something unusual in the far corner of the assembly hall. Looking completely out of place among the gathered warriors, stood a human. He appeared young, perhaps in his early 20s by human standards, with brown hair and unremarkable features. His name tag read simply, Trainee. Unlike the other candidates who wore specialized armor or displayed natural weapons, this human wore only standard training gear. Princess Zara frowned. Humans were known throughout the galaxy as a curious species, clever with technology and surprisingly persistent, but they were hardly considered warriors. Their homeworld, called Earth, is classified as a class M planet, with standard gravity and relatively mild predators compared to most warrior worlds. What was one doing here among these elite candidates? She touched the communication device on her wrist. Commander Vex, please provide information on the human candidate. Commander Vex, a scarred Kraxi veteran who served as the training instructor, responded immediately. Your Highness, the human registered 3 days ago. His records show basic combat training from Earth's military academies, but nothing exceptional. Standard physical parameters, no enhancement modifications, no special weapons training. I am uncertain why he believes himself suitable for the Galactic Guard. Has he passed the preliminary screenings? Yes, Your Highness, but barely. He met minimum requirements in all categories. I suspect he will be eliminated during the first combat trial. Princess Zara dismissed the communication and continued observing. The human, Tom, seemed calm, despite being surrounded by beings who could easily overpower him physically. He watched the other candidates with quiet interest, showing no signs of intimidation or fear. This struck her as either remarkably brave or foolishly naive. The opening ceremony began with Commander Vex addressing the candidates. His booming voice carried easily through the vast hall. Warriors of the galaxy, you have come here seeking to join the most elite fighting force in known space. The Galactic Guard protects billions of innocent lives across thousands of worlds. Only the strongest, fastest, and most capable warriors will earn this honor. He gestured toward the various training areas visible through transparent walls. You will face 5 trials over the next 3 days. Combat proficiency, tactical intelligence, physical endurance, mental resilience, and team coordination. Failure in any category means immediate elimination. A murmur of excitement rippled through the assembled candidates. These beings had traveled across the galaxy for this opportunity, many leaving behind successful military careers on their homeworlds. The first trial begins now, Commander Vex announced. Combat proficiency. You will face opponents of similar weight class in individual matches. Victory advances you to the next round. Defeat means elimination. Princess Zara moved to the combat observation area as the candidates were divided into groups. The fighting arena was a circular platform surrounded by energy barriers, equipped with sensors to monitor every aspect of each match. Medical teams stood ready to assist fallen warriors. The first matches began with predictable outcomes. Craxi warriors dominated through raw strength, their forearms delivering devastating combination attacks. Dex soldiers used their speed and natural armor to outmaneuver opponents, while Draconi fighters employed both flame breath and razor-sharp claws with deadly efficiency. Princess Zara watched with professional interest, making mental notes about particularly impressive candidates. A young Craxi named Gorak showed exceptional technique, defeating 3 opponents without taking significant damage. A Vec warrior called Zix demonstrated tactical brilliance, turning her opponent's strength against them through clever positioning. Then, Tom's turn arrived. The human stepped into the arena, facing a Namari warrior named Kef. 6-legged alien moved with blinding speed, circling his opponent while looking for openings to strike. Namori were known for their ability to attack from unexpected angles using their incredible agility. Princess Zara expected the match to end quickly. Humans simply could not match the speed and natural weapons of most galactic species. Yet as she watched, something interesting happened. Tom did not try to match his opponent's speed or use superior strength he clearly lacked. Instead, he observed carefully, tracking movement patterns and waiting for the right moment. When Kef launched his attack, coming in low with sharp claws extended, Tom moved with surprising precision. He sidestepped the attack by exactly the right distance, grabbed one of Kef's legs as the alien overextended, and used the Namari's own momentum to send him tumbling across the arena floor. Before Kef could recover, Tom had positioned himself advantageously and delivered a series of quick, precise strikes, 2 pressure points that temporarily paralyzed his opponent. The match was over in less than 30 seconds. Princess Zara blinked in surprise. The technique displayed was not flashy or impressive in terms of raw power, but it had been remarkably efficient. Tom had won through careful observation, timing, and knowledge of anatomy rather than superior physical abilities. Interesting, she murmured to herself. Commander Vex's voice echoed through the arena. Winner, human candidate Tom. Over the next hour, Tom faced 2 more opponents and won both matches using similar tactics. He defeated a young Draconi by exploiting the reptilian's slower reflexes after extended flame breathing, and outmaneuvered a Vorthok by using the crystalline being's rigid body structure against him. Yet, Princess Zara noticed that while Tom won his matches, he did so without any particular flair or dominance. His victories seemed almost accidental, as if he was simply making the best of difficult situations rather than demonstrating superior fighting ability. Compared to the devastating displays of power from Craxi warriors or the lightning-fast strikes of Dex soldiers, Tom's performances seemed unremarkable. Standard human persistence and adaptability, she concluded. Clever but hardly the stuff of elite warriors. The combat trials concluded with 67 candidates advancing to the next phase. Tom had made it through, but Princess Zara ranked him among the least impressive qualifiers. She expected him to be eliminated during the tactical intelligence trial, or physical endurance testing. The following day brought new challenges, but the results remained consistent. Tom passed each trial, always meeting the minimum requirements, but never standing out among the top performers. During tactical simulations, he made sound but conservative decisions. In physical endurance testing, he completed every challenge but finished in the middle rankings. Princess Zara found herself increasingly puzzled by the human. He clearly possessed some capability, having survived trials that eliminated hundreds of candidates. Yet he seemed completely ordinary compared to the obvious elite warriors who dominated every category. On the 3rd day, Commander Vex announced the final trial, team coordination during a routine patrol mission. The remaining 24 candidates would be divided into 4 groups, each led by a senior instructor, and sent to different sections of Nexus 7 for standard security patrols. This trial evaluates your ability to work effectively with other species and respond appropriately to unexpected situations, Commander Vex explained. You will patrol the outer rim sections of this station, areas that occasionally experience minor security incidents or equipment malfunctions. Princess Zara decided to personally observe this final trial. She joined the group assigned to Section 7, station's outermost ring, where cargo ships docked and various supplies were stored. The team consisted of 6 candidates: Gorak the Kraxi, Dix the Vec, a Draconii named Phyrix, 2 other aliens she had noted as promising, and Tom. The patrol began routinely enough. Section 7 contained miles of corridors connecting storage areas, docking bays, and maintenance facilities. The artificial gravity here was slightly lighter than standard, and the lighting was dimmed to conserve power. Their instructor, a veteran Velkari officer named Captain Nix, led them through standard security procedures. Your task is simple, Captain Nix explained as they walked through the quiet corridors. Check each storage area and docking bay for any unusual activity or equipment problems. Report anything suspicious through your communicators. Stay together as a unit. For the first hour, nothing significant occurred. The team checked empty storage rooms, verified that automated systems were functioning properly, and confirmed that all docking bays were secure. Princess Zara observed how the candidates interacted with each other, followed instructions. Gorak naturally assumed a leadership role among the group, his impressive size and combat record earning respect from the others. Zix provided tactical suggestions and maintained excellent situational awareness. Phyrix and the other candidates contributed their own specialized skills. When relevant, Tom remained quiet throughout most of the patrol, following instructions carefully but offering little input. He seemed content to let others take the lead while he observed their surroundings with the same calm attention. Princess Zara had noticed during the combat trials. They reached Storage Bay 47, a large area containing supplies for long-range exploration missions. Captain Nix was explaining the inventory management systems when his communicator buzzed with an urgent message. Captain, we have a situation in Section 12, the voice reported. Equipment malfunction in the main power distribution center. We need you to supervise repairs immediately. Captain Nix frowned. Acknowledged. I must leave to handle this emergency. Continue the patrol as planned and report back to the training center in 1 hour. He hurried away. Leaving the 6 candidates alone in Storage Bay 47, the group continued their inspection, checking supply containers and verifying security seals. Princess Zara followed at a distance, remaining hidden behind storage units while observing their performance. This was actually a valuable test, seeing how they functioned without direct supervision. That was when they heard the sound. It started as a low growling noise from deeper within the storage bay, where the lighting was dimmer and containers were stacked higher. All 6 candidates immediately went alert, their various species enhanced senses picking up something that did not belong. What was that? Phyrix whispered, small flames flickering around his nostrils as his body prepared for potential combat. Gorak's forearms flexed as he moved into a defensive position. Unknown. Could be a malfunctioning piece of equipment. Zix's compound eyes glittered as she processed multiple sensory inputs simultaneously. Negative. That sound pattern indicates biological origin. Large predatory species. Princess Zara felt a chill run down her spine. Shadowmaw creatures had been spotted in this sector recently, though none were supposed to be aboard the station. These apex predators from the dark worlds beyond the galactic rim were known for their ability to slip board cargo ships and hide until they found suitable hunting grounds. The growling sound came again, closer this time and definitely moving in their direction. We should retreat and call for backup, one of the other candidates suggested, his voice tight with fear. But before anyone could respond, 3 massive shapes emerged from between the storage containers. Shadowmaw stood nearly as tall as Kraxi warriors, but their bodies were built for pure predatory efficiency. Sleek black fur covered powerful muscles, while rows of razor-sharp teeth gleamed in their elongated skulls. Their 6 legs ended in claws capable of tearing through standard armor plating. and their eyes glowed with an intelligence that made them far more dangerous than mere beasts. These creatures had hunted sentient beings across dozens of worlds. They were known to stalk their prey for days, learning behavior patterns before striking. No single warrior, regardless of species, had ever defeated a Shadowmaw in individual combat, and now 3 of them blocked the only exit from Storage Bay 47. The lead Shadowmaw raised its head and released a bone-chilling howl that echoed through the storage bay. The other 2 spread out to flank the trapped candidates, their movements coordinated like a practiced hunting pack. Gorak raised all 4 arms in a fighting stance, though Princess Zara could see fear in his eyes. Zix calculated retreat routes while Fire Axe breathed small jets of flame to keep the creatures at bay. The other candidates backed toward the center of the group. Looking for any possible escape, the Shadowmaws began their approach, moving slowly and deliberately. They had trapped their prey and could afford to take their time, savoring the fear they could undoubtedly sense. That was when Princess Zara noticed something that would change everything she thought she knew about humans. Tom stepped forward. He did not charge at the creatures or raise his hands in a fighting position. He simply took 2 calm steps toward the approaching Shadowmaws and looked directly at them. The lead Shadowmaw stopped moving, its glowing eyes fixed on Tom. And for a moment that seemed to stretch forever. Predator and human stared at each other in absolute silence. Then something impossible happened. The massive creature took a step backward. The other 2 Shadowmaws, sensing their leader's sudden uncertainty, also hesitated. Their coordinated advance faltered as they caught sight of Tom. Standing calmly in front of the other candidates, Princess Zara watched in complete disbelief as the lead Shadowmaw lowered its head and released a sound she had never heard from one of these apex predators. Before it was a whimper. The 3 creatures began backing away slowly, their eyes never leaving Tom, but their aggressive posture completely abandoned. They moved like animals that had suddenly realized they were not the most dangerous things in this storage bay. Within moments, all 3 Shadowmaws had retreated into the shadows between the storage containers and disappeared entirely. The storage bay fell silent except for the sound of 5 alien warriors breathing heavily, in shock and confusion. Tom turned back to the group as if nothing unusual had happened. "The patrol route continues through the next section," he said calmly. "We should maintain our schedule." Princess Zara stared at the young human who had just made 3 apex predators retreat without lifting a finger, and realized she had been very wrong about what she was looking at. She had assumed Tom was just another trainee. She was beginning to understand that he might be something far more dangerous. Princess Zara could not sleep that night. She lay in her quarters aboard Nexus 7, staring at the ceiling while replaying the events in Storage Bay 47 over and over in her mind. 3 Shadowmaw creatures, apex predators that had terrorized entire star systems, had retreated from a single human without any fight whatsoever. It made no sense according to everything she knew about galactic biology and predator behavior. Shadowmaws were not known to back down from anything. They hunted Craxi warriors for sport on several worlds. They had been observed stalking and consuming entire Thek colonies. Even armed Valkyrie soldiers traveled in large groups when Shadowmaw sightings were reported in any system. Yet, Tom had made 3 of them retreat. By simply looking at them, Princess Zara activated her personal computer terminal and began searching through the galactic databases for information about humans and their homeworld. The basic facts were well documented. Earth was a classum planet in a minor star system, populated by a single sentient species that had achieved spaceflight only recently by galactic standards. Humans were described as average in most physical categories. They possessed standard bipedal locomotion, basic sensory capabilities, and no natural weapons or armor. Their homeworld had standard gravity and atmospheric composition. Most galactic species considered them clever but unremarkable from a military perspective. But as Princess Zara dug deeper into the databases, she began finding references to something called Australia. This was apparently a large landmass on Earth that was classified differently from the rest of the planet. Several scientific reports mentioned it as having unusual biodiversity patterns and extremely high predator density. Found a research paper written by xenobiologists who had visited Earth several years earlier. The scientists had been studying human evolution patterns and had spent time on various continents. Most of his observations matched the standard galactic understanding of humans and their environment. Then she reached the section about Australia. The southern continent presents a remarkable exception to Earth's generally mild ecosystem, the report stated. Predator species density is approximately 40 times higher than the planetary average. Venomous creatures exist in quantities unknown anywhere else in the galaxy. Local wildlife includes multiple species that would be classified as apex predators on most worlds. Princess Zara frowned as she continued reading. The report described creatures called saltwater crocodiles that grew to enormous sizes and could bite with enough force to crush starship hull plating. It mentioned spiders whose venom could paralyze creatures many times their size, and snakes that could strike faster than most beings could react. Most remarkable, the scientists had written, is that humans not only survived in this environment, but actually thrived. Local human populations developed unique survival skills and demonstrated an unusual lack of fear when encountering dangerous wildlife. Several specimens I observed appeared to treat apex predators as minor inconveniences rather than deadly threats.
Oh.
The report included video recordings from the scientist's visit. Princess Zara watched in amazement as she saw humans casually removing venomous spiders from their homes, wrestling with massive reptilian predators, and walking calmly through areas where multiple dangerous species lived in close proximity. One video showed a human child, barely old enough to walk properly, approaching a creature that looked remarkably similar to a shadow maw. The local humans called it a dingo, instead of running in terror. The child had laughed and tried to pet it, while adult humans nearby treated this as completely normal behavior, Princess Zara realized. She was looking at evidence of something unprecedented in galactic history, an entire human population that had evolved alongside creatures dangerous enough to be classified as apex predators by galactic standards. And they had not only survived, but learned to dominate their environment. She checked Tom's personal records again, looking for specific details about his origin. Most of his file remained classified, but she found one crucial piece of information. His birthplace was listed as Perth, Western Australia, Earth. He was from the most dangerous continent on an already dangerous world. The next morning brought the announcement that Tom and 5 other candidates had successfully completed all trials and been accepted into the galactic Guard. Princess Zara attended the ceremony, but found herself watching Tom rather than the formal proceedings. He stood quietly among the other new recruits, showing the same calm demeanor she had observed throughout the trials. There was nothing in his posture or expression that suggested he was anything other than a competent but unremarkable young warrior. After the ceremony, Princess Zara approached Commander Vex privately. "I want the new human recruit assigned to special training exercises," she told him. "I believe his capabilities may have been underestimated during the standard trials." Commander Vex looked confused. "Your Highness, his performance scores were adequate but not exceptional. Are you certain special training is warranted?" "I am certain. Arrange for him to participate in the Advanced Predator Encounter Training in Biodome 7. Biodome 7 was Nexus 7's most dangerous training facility. It contained live specimens of predatory species from dozens of worlds. It's maintained in carefully controlled environments for advanced combat training. Only the most elite Galactic Guard members were permitted to train there, and even they worked in teams of at least 6 warriors." "Your Highness," Commander Vex said carefully, "Biodome 7 contains creatures that have eliminated experienced warriors in the past. Perhaps the human should undergo additional preparation before he will train there tomorrow," Princess Zara interrupted. "And I will observe personally." The next day, Princess Zara positioned herself in the observation deck above Biodome 7. The facility was massive, containing multiple ecosystem replicas from various deadly worlds. Each section was separated, by energy barriers that could be lowered to allow trainees to move between environments during exercises. Tom entered the biodome wearing standard training gear and carrying basic equipment. He had been briefed on the exercise parameters but given no specific information about what creatures he would encounter. The test was designed to evaluate how warriors responded to unknown threats in hostile environments. Princess Zara activated the communication system to speak with Tom. Your task is simple. Navigate through each section of the biodome and reach the extraction point at the far end. You have 2 hours to complete the course. Understood. Your Highness, Tom replied calmly. The first section contained creatures from the forest world of Kithen, including pack hunters called razorwings that were known for their coordinated attack patterns. These flying predators had eliminated several experienced warriors. During previous training exercises, Tom entered the forest environment and immediately began moving toward the exit barrier. Within minutes, a pack of 6 razorwings detected his presence and began circling overhead. Their razor-sharp wing edges could slice through most armor, and their hunting strategy involved swooping down from multiple directions simultaneously. Princess Zara watched as the creatures prepared to attack, expecting to see Tom scramble for cover or call for emergency extraction. Instead, something else happened. Tom looked up at the circling razorwings calmly. He made no aggressive moves or defensive gestures. He simply stood in the center of the clearing and waited. The lead razorwing broke off its attack pattern and flew closer to examine this strange prey that showed no fear. As it approached, Princess Zara saw the exact moment when the creature's predatory confidence faltered. The razorwing suddenly veered away from Tom and released a high-pitched call that sounded almost like a warning. The other pack members immediately abandoned their attack formation and began flying in wider circles. Maintaining a safe distance from the human below, Tom continued walking toward the exit, as if nothing had happened. The razorwings followed him at a distance but made no further attempts to attack. When he reached the energy barrier, they actually seemed relieved to see him leave their territory. The second section contained aquatic tattators in a shallow water environment. Megashark specimens from the ocean world of Tidal Prime were considered among the most efficient predators in known space. They could sense prey from vast distances and attack with devastating speed. Tom waded into the water without hesitation. Princess Zara held her breath as she watched massive shapes moving beneath the surface, converging on his location. 3 adult megasharks, each longer than a small starship, approached the human from different directions. Then the same impossible thing happened again. As the lead megashark came within striking distance, it suddenly stopped. The massive creature evolved to hunt anything that entered its domain, simply floated motionless while Tom walked past it through the shallow water. The other megasharks kept their distance, following Tom, but never approaching close enough to be considered threatening. When he reached the far shore, all 3 predators immediately swam away, as if they had never been interested in him at all. Section 3 contained the most dangerous creatures in the entire biodome. Cave hunters from the dark world of Umbra were considered the ultimate test of any warrior's survival skills. These creatures were pure predatory evolution, with enhanced senses that could track prey through solid rock and claws that could tear through battleship armor. Tom entered the cave system without any special equipment or weapons. Princess Zara activated every monitoring system available, knowing that cave hunters were nearly impossible to detect until they attacked for 30 minutes. She watched Tom navigate the dark tunnels using only a basic light source. The sensor readings showed at least 4 cave hunters moving through the rock around him, positioning themselves for coordinated strikes from multiple directions. Tom seemed completely unaware of the deadly creatures stalking him through solid stone. He continued moving toward the exit tunnel at a steady pace, occasionally pausing to examine interesting rock formations, but showing no signs of concern. The cave hunters continued tracking him, moving closer with each passing minute. Princess Zara could see on her displays that they were now within striking distance, preparing for simultaneous attacks from 4 directions. Then the sensor readings changed. Dramatically, all 4 cave hunters suddenly stopped moving. The thermal signatures showed them backing away from Tom's position, retreating deeper into the rock formations. Within minutes, it had withdrawn completely from the area around the tunnel system. Tom emerged from the caves and walked calmly to the extraction point, completing the exercise in record time without encountering any active resistance from the deadliest predators in the biodome. Princess Zara stared at the sensor readings in complete disbelief. In her entire military career, she had never seen anything like what she had just witnessed. Every major predator species in the galaxy had demonstrated the same response to Tom's presence. They were afraid of him. She made her decision and activated the communication system again. Tom, remain in the extraction area. I am coming down to speak with you personally. Princess Zara found Tom sitting casually on a supply crate in the extraction area, appearing completely relaxed despite having just walked through 3 environments that routinely challenged the most elite warriors in the galaxy. That was an unusual exercise, she said, studying his expression carefully. Did you notice anything strange about the creature's behavior? Tom considered the question for a moment. They seemed more cautious than the briefing materials suggested they would be, Your Highness. But nothing too unusual from my perspective? Nothing unusual? Tom, those predators have eliminated experienced warriors in the past. They showed no aggression toward you whatsoever. Yes, Your Highness. That does seem odd when you put it that way. Princess Zara realized he was being evasive. Tom, I need you to be completely honest with me. What is your actual background? Your records show basic training from Earth's military academies, but I suspect there is more to your story. Tom was quiet for a long moment, clearly considering how much to reveal. Finally, he nodded. You are correct, Your Highness. My records are incomplete. Explain. I was born and raised in Western Australia. My family has lived there for many generations. We learned survival skills that are necessary for living in that environment. What kind of survival skills? Tom seemed to struggle with how to explain something that was obviously normal to him. Your Highness, Australia contains wildlife that most galactic species would classify as extremely dangerous. We grew up learning how to coexist with creatures that hunt other apex predators. Give me specific examples. Well, we have spiders whose venom can paralyze creatures much larger than themselves. We have snakes that can strike faster than most beings can react. We have crocodiles that can bite through starship hull plating. We have jellyfish, whose poison can terminate most life forms in minutes. Princess Zara felt a chill as Tom continued his casual description of what sounded like the most deadly environment in known space. We have sharks that hunt in coordinated packs, octopi that can change shape to ambush prey, and thousands of other species that would be considered apex predators on most worlds. Growing up there means learning to recognize which ones are immediately dangerous and how to avoid or handle each type of threat. And you learned to handle these creatures as a child? Your Highness, every human child in Australia learns these skills. It is simply part of living there. You cannot survive to adulthood without understanding how to coexist with dangerous wildlife. Princess Zara began to understand the magnitude of what she was learning. Tom, do you realize that most of the creatures you just described would be classified as major threats requiring military intervention on any other world? Tom looked genuinely surprised. Really? But they are just normal wildlife, Your Highness. Normal wildlife? Tom, the creatures in this biodome are considered among the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. They all avoided you completely. They recognized you as something more dangerous than they are. I suppose that makes sense, Tom said thoughtfully. Predators generally avoid confrontation with anything they recognize as a superior threat. It is basic survival instinct. But what makes them see you as a superior threat? You carry no weapons. You show no aggressive behavior. You appear completely harmless. Tom was quiet for a moment, and Princess Zara could see him considering how to explain something that was clearly difficult to put into words. Your Highness? Humans from Australia evolved alongside creatures that regularly hunt other apex predators. We survived not by being stronger or faster, but by being more dangerous than everything else in our environment. How could humans be more dangerous than the creatures you described? Because we became the apex predators, Your Highness. Every creature I mentioned, from the largest crocodiles to the most venomous spiders, learned to fear humans over millions of years of evolution. We did not just survive in their environment, we dominated it. Princess Zara felt a fundamental shift in her understanding of what she was looking at. You are telling me that humans hunted apex predators as prey? Yes, Your Highness. Humans from Australia learned to hunt creatures that other species would consider almost impossible to defeat. We developed techniques for dealing with every type of dangerous wildlife on our continent. Many of these creatures were driven to near extinction by human hunting, and other predators can sense this somehow. Predatory species throughout the galaxy appear to share certain instinctual responses, Your Highness. When they encounter something that their evolutionary programming recognizes as a superior predator, they automatically engage avoidance behaviors. Princess Zara stared at Tom with completely new understanding. She had been looking at someone she assumed was a weak human, trying to become a warrior. In reality, she had been observing a member of the most successful predatory species in galactic history. Tom, why did you not mention any of this during the recruitment trials? Your Highness, it never seemed relevant. The trials tested combat skills and tactical knowledge, not survival experience. I did not want to seem like I was boasting about something that was simply normal where I come from. Normal. Tom, what you consider normal would be classified as elite military training on any other world. Tom looked genuinely confused by this statement. But Your Highness, every human from Australia has these same experiences. We do not consider ourselves special. We are just adapted to our environment like any other species. Princess Zara realized that Tom genuinely did not understand how remarkable his background was by galactic standards. To him, growing up among creatures that could terrorize entire star systems was simply ordinary childhood experience. Tom, I have a question for you. During the Shadow Maw encounter yesterday, what exactly did you do to make them retreat? I honestly am not certain, Your Highness. I looked at them and they seemed to decide I was not suitable prey. Perhaps they sensed that I was familiar with similar predators and concluded that hunting me would be more dangerous than profitable. Similar predators? You have creatures like shadow maws on Earth. Not identical, Your Highness, but comparable. We call them dingoes, wild dogs, and several other species that hunt in coordinated packs. Australian humans learned to deal with pack hunters thousands of years ago. Princess Zara understood now why every predator in the galaxy instinctively avoided Tom. He carried the evolutionary signature of a species that had not only survived among apex predators, but had actually hunted them to near extinction.
Oh my God.
I am promoting you from trainee status effective immediately. You will serve as my personal guard during diplomatic missions to dangerous sectors. Tom looked surprised. Your Highness, I appreciate the honor, but I have not yet completed standard training protocols. Tom, you completed training protocols that do not exist anywhere else in the galaxy. You learned to survive among creatures that would be classified as biological weapons on most worlds. Princess Zara made her decision. The galaxy was full of dangerous species and hostile environments, but she had just discovered that humans from Earth had already mastered every type of threat imaginable. Sometimes the most dangerous warriors were those who did not need to prove how dangerous they were. They simply carried themselves with the quiet confidence of apex predators who had never met anything more dangerous than themselves.